Hello, everybody. Welcome. Just a second. I'm going to shut my door, which my cat just opened. There we go. Okay. Hello, hello. Hello, Mark. How's it going? You guys got to let me know in the chat what you're going to be reading. Hello, hello. Hey, John. How's it going? Hi, Mike. An hour less left in Station 11. Nice. It's always a thrill when you get like really close to finishing another book. That's awesome. Hi, Anita. How are you? What is everybody reading? I'm trying to find. Oh, there we go. That's the wrong link. How you guys doing? Figured it had been a little while since we did a Sprints live stream. It is Saturday. As far as I'm aware, at least for me, it is Saturday. Matt, hey, what's going on? Hey, Peter. Reading Memento Mori by Muriel Spark, mid-century psychological fiction. Nice. I've heard of the title before, but I didn't know anything about it. Are you enjoying it so far? Hi, Esme. Have a good night's sleep. Thanks for popping in to say hi. Still getting used to this whole camera and laptop setup. Hey, Zen. I am currently reading Howling Dark, and I'm about this far in. So one of the reasons we're doing reading sprints today is because I want to take a chunk out of this chunk and get through a bunch more, because to answer your question without giving too much away of what I think of it so far, I am struggling with it a little bit. I won't lie. I am continuing mostly because of the commentary of people that I know who really liked the second half specifically. The first half, I'm not loving. I'm actually pretty frustrated with it, to be honest. And I have lots of thoughts that I will share in the future about that. But this has been a really rough first, 200 pages for me. Izzy, happy Saturday. Kingdom of Copper. Is that the last book in the trilogy? I think it is. I want to read. That is a series that has been on my, when I go to the library with the intention of borrowing a book next time, it'll probably be that one. I'm very curious about it. How are you enjoying the overall trilogy so far? Hi, Doug. Reading A Bitter Taste, book 5 of the Daidoji Shin mystery series. Ooh. I'm gonna have to write that down. That sounds really interesting. It's a good thing I always bring myself a pen and a notepad for these, because you guys always have great recommendations. Mysteries. Okay, I'll have to check that out later. Zeely, hey, how's it going? Hello, Britain. Oh, did I? Oops. I think I used the description from our last sprint, which was on a Friday. I think I just forgot to change it. Thank you for pointing that out. I think I just forgot to change it. So let me go do that so nobody else is confused. Details. Happy Saturday. I know what day it is. Everything's fine. Okay, fixed. Reading a nonfiction one day, everyone will have always been against this, and it's so nice. I've read a couple of nonfiction in the last few months, and that's always a good break from big fantasy series for me. It's been good. A lot of people being very catty about each other. Fair. Fair. My cat keeps opening my door every time I shut it because she's mad that I haven't fed her yet, and it is 2.5 hours before food time for them. But she keeps coming in and clawing my pant leg to be like, hello, like I'm starving to death. You never feed me anything. I'm like, it's 4 o'clock. I don't know what you want. Definitely get a good night's sleep. Giovanni's room. Nice. Oh, she's back. Novia. Hello. Do you know what time it is? I should say, do you know what time it isn't? It's not food time. Look at this poor starving cat, you guys. She's wasting away. Look at her. She's barely surviving on the scraps that we give her. It's a sad existence, really. Are you gonna sit with me, or are you just gonna go in and out for a while to let me know how you feel about things? We're sitting down. Okay. Can I move your tail? Thank you. Oh gosh. Okay. I've heard it's quite a ride, the last bit of the book. So I fully anticipate enjoying the second half more than the first half. I just got to get there because so far I'm pretty meh on it. I did finish True Grit, Britain. I really enjoyed it. Actually, I read that. Was that the last one I finished? No. Yes. Yes. That was the last book I finished, and I enjoyed it. It was really good. Hi, Sam. How's it going? Hi, Derry. How are you doing? What are you reading or rereading right now? Zach finished Dreaming the Eagle the other day. Nice. I've been bouncing between Silverberg's Science Fiction Hall of Fame, Volume 1, and Andrew D. Meredith's Fourscored. Nice. That's a good variety pairing. Sam just finished Cold Silver. Awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for reading it. Me either, Matt. I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts on Howling Dark, and I have a lot of thoughts. So, yeah. I went into Howling Dark, and I'll keep it brief because I don't want to spoil all my thoughts yet, and I obviously haven't gotten that far into the book, but I went into it with my expectations set. That the beginning of book 2 is a little jarring for a lot of people for reasons, and even with that, I'm on the struggle bus, so that's why I'm here, because I hope you guys can help me move further into the book this evening. That's my goal, is to get a good chunk of Howling Dark in tonight. I may also take breaks to write because I'm a little behind on my word count goal. So good. That's good. I will say that the first 10 to 20% of the book will affect my rating, though. I will say that, because it's one of those things where in some books, depending on how jarring it is, I'm fine with it, and I'm like, well, okay, it's fine. This one affected my enjoyment so much of moving from book 1 to book 2 that I will definitely factor that into my rating at the end, regardless of like what it looks like at the end. So we'll see. I'm curious. I'm still curious about where he's going with it. I'm still involved in like the larger conflict side of things, but Derry is pacing her way through Discovery. Nice. Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Derry. Sarah Beth, just about to start Cold Silver because it's so hot here. Honestly, That's fair. We're a little overcast today in Minnesota, so it's not too warm, but it's been really hot a couple of the days this last week, and I'm melting already. It's the second book. That's right. Second one is really great, exciting plot. Nice, awesome. I love that. I love seeing people like really getting excited about the series they're in and wanting to just right away go to the next book. That's awesome. Or possibly Titus Grown. That is quite a decision between Gold Silver and Titus Grown. That is definitely a what mood are you in kind of question. I remember Britain liking Titus Grown. Hi, Tharnell. How's it going? She's such a drama queen, you guys. She is like full on queen, cat, everything. She's very spoiled. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you what. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised she's still with us. Clearly suffering. I know. She's trying to tell me. She's like, you are the worst cat parent. Clearly. Making dinner. Nice. Yeah, I know. I'll probably get something to eat somewhere during the sprints because I am also getting kind of hungry. What are you having for dinner? I don't even know what I'm in the mood for. I mean, I can always go for pizza. Pizza's a good comfort food. Wasting away to only one cat. Yep, it's a tough life, guys. Yeah, I did. I'm assuming this is in response to True Grit. Enjoyed it. Me too. I haven't really looked into any of his other books at this point, but I would definitely think about reading another one of that. LaBeouf is a creep, and I know that he's not necessarily supposed to be, and like no spoilers or anything, but with the events of later on in the book, but it didn't work for me, that part. Like it didn't change my opinion, if that makes sense. Still burnt out. Tim Powers, stress of her regard, and that's it. I'm reading some. Hey, that's fair. Take a break if you need to. The second half is much better, but if you thought I did like the ending of Empire of Silence quite a bit, which I think was part of the reason why I'm struggling so much with book 2 is that it's jarring. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't gotten into the series, but it is very jarring after the ending of Empire. Stranger Tides. Hi, Ida. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Ida or Ida? I try really hard to make sure I'm saying everybody's names correctly. Just finished Outlander and it was awful. I hated it. Don't read. Noted. That one I have zero interest in reading, other than I do have a vlog idea that I want to try that could possibly include that book. But I would be willing to bet that I'm going to have some very strong thoughts about it as well. About Jamie. Jamie is a really interesting character. I've seen all of the available seasons of Outlander except for the last one, I think. And like there's some, it's so hard because there's some things in the series that are really interesting and some really cool character arcs. It's just not enough to balance out all of the other stuff for in interest of staying away from spoilers. My Brother's Keeper by Tim Powers. This is the first time that I have heard of this author, is while he's been making the rounds with like Philip and Mike and Brian and John's. It's the first time I've ever heard of Tim Powers. Hi, Matt. Welcome.
Hi, Tor. Thank you. Good to be here.
What are you reading today?
I am reading Bee Speaker by Adrian Tchaikovsky, the third in the Dogs of War trilogy.
Nice. I thought Dogs of War was a standalone.
Pete, get to it. Get to it, man.
Look, I gotta get through Bearhead first.
Yeah, you gotta catch up.
And I actually have to get the book, which it should be on its way.
Yeah.
So much of booktube experience when you're in it in general, but especially when you're a creator, is all of your friends yelling at you for not having read certain books. That's like
Yes.
90% of the experience, to be
This
honest.
is absolutely true.
Yep.
Yeah. Like just because you have a channel, you've read every book ever
Yeah.
published.
It's true.
And
you're
if you
updated on
haven't,
all
you
the
should
latest
have.
ones.
Yes. And you've read all the new releases the day they come out.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how it works.
This is I don't remember the last time I read a first day release book like immediately, you know. I pre-ordered this, and as soon as it came in, I started
Wow.
it. Evie and I have because we've both been loving Dogs of War and Bearhead, we both were like, let's read this together
Right away.
And as
Yeah.
soon as it comes out, and I was like, it comes out a week later in Germany. She's like, okay, I'll wait a week. But yeah.
So is that the final? Is it just a trilogy? Like it's stopping at this book? Or is he going to continue?
I don't remember him ever 100% saying.
Committing?
And it's not like described anywhere as the Dogs of War trilogy.
Sure.
I think this is another one, kind of like Children of Time, that he thought that there were more stories in the world, and he decided to keep writing them.
Yeah, and I mean,
I'm on top of that, there was also demand for it, right? Because Guns of the Dawn is another one where there's definitely more stories in the world that he wants to tell, but there isn't enough demand, which we're trying to change.
Well, I mean, like if our demand counts, there's plenty, but apparently sales weren't good enough that his publisher was like, "Oh yes, please write another one."
To be honest, Guns of the Dawn is one that I have a slightly unpopular opinion that I actually would prefer that it stays a standalone, because I actually really like it as a standalone.
I really like.
I'm not bothered. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Like something else in that world would be really interesting, but I don't know that we necessarily need to go back to that specific storyline.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be like he's mentioned like briefly. It would be about like the monarchists coming back and trying to, come back into power a little bit. But
he definitely has stuff. Like when I was talking to him when he was here, he was saying, actually, I was thinking maybe a graphic novel.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, he said he has ideas, and he's kind of vaguely talked to some people about maybe doing a graphic novel, which would be sort of a sequel, but more just in the same world.
It's an Anita.
Okay, Anita and Pete, you guys gotta behave yourselves.
I have to leave.
What did I do? I don't know what did I do.
If
you
Anita's
showed up,
here,
apparently.
I have to go, yeah.
No, I can't believe I offend people with just showing up.
I haven't talked to you in a long time. Hi.
I know, right? It's been forever. Hi, Matt. I don't know why you're angry with me, but hi.
I'm just sort of, my baseline is pretty angry, so
okay.
Just you caught it today.
See. Okay, Matt, you've read Sun Eater. Pete, have you read? You've read part of Sun Eater, correct?
Nope.
No, have read nothing of Sun Eater. Okay. Nope. So I want to respond to this briefly, and then I'm going to try and catch up on a few of the comments. But I have a small beef with this, and this is as somebody who I love novellas in series. I love like additional short stories. Like if you love a series, more of it is never a bad thing most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's almost never a bad thing.
But you don't love Sun Eater yet.
No, I don't. So here's the thing. I find it really frustrating, and I'm gonna probably try to look for an actual like list of like, okay, here's the reading order that because apparently, so I read the Lesser Devil in between book 1 and book 2, which does not have anything to do with the events of the end of book 1 to book 2 at all. Like it's not a bridge novella. It's just an extra story, which is fine.
It does chronologically happen between book 1 and 2.
With a different
but it doesn't have any connection to either of them. It doesn't really have any bearing on them.
And I go through and trying to figure out, there's like 4 volumes of Tales of the Sun Eater at this point.
As I understand it,
It's
somebody
so confusing.
who's more into Sun Eater in the chat than I am can correct me, but
Zen.
as I understand it, the Tales of the Sun Eater things don't matter that much. Time-wise.
There's apparently
unpopular opinion. I think there shouldn't be any novellas. They shouldn't exist. Short story collections, okay. I mean, there can be a novella without connecting to any other series, like Tchaikovsky's, like Ogre's, Elder Race. That I'm okay with. But in fantasy series or sci-fi, a big series, I like the whole books. Or if they want, like authors want to tell more stories, I am okay with short story collections.
But why?
But novellas, I don't know. I mean,
so you don't mind a short story, but if the short story gets a little bit too long, like
then it's supposed to have
a few pages too long, then it's not good.
That becomes a short story, and it can be part of short story collection. That is my pet peeve. I don't know why.
That's fair. I'm the complete opposite.
That totally makes sense, Anita. That is so logical. I get
annoyed with
novellas
short
are evil.
Stories more. Well, and it's actually funny, Anita, I'm writing a novella right now, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all over, Tori.
Okay.
I guess I gotta scrap it. I
won't
write it.
Okay.
We're leaving.
Before someone in the comments attack me, I did not know that, so it wasn't personal attack against Tori.
You're fine. See, I actually agree with you to a point. I like novellas in series. My thing with novellas is I want to be able to read the series without them. I don't want it to be so crucial that if you don't read the novella, you can't figure out what's you're missing big chunks.
Yeah.
And the thing, apparently there's a short story that kind of fills in a little of the gap between Empire of Silence and Howling Dark that I did not know about. And I'm like, it was enough of a gap that I feel like I'm missing a book. So, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
I forget what that one's
all.
called.
Guns of Pharos, I think.
Okay.
Is the one that has been mentioned to, but it's really confusing because there's so many novellas and there's so many volumes of short stories plus
Zin kind of answered what I was saying or asking. Like Tales of the Sun Eater, forget about it. Doesn't matter that much.
Okay.
The novellas do fill in some gaps, and putting them in the right place chronologically between the right books is a good idea.
I feel like if you're going to write short stories and novellas along with a huge series, I think ideally, of course, it'd be easier. I think somebody said that, you should be able to read the series and still love it without the novellas.
Just ignore
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
Anything
because even right now,
you should make it as simple as possible.
The ones I read. First of all, I suck at keeping track of the order of a series that's bigger than a trilogy, and then having novellas squeezed in between books makes it even worse. Yeah. So I can't be an expert on this without actually looking shit up. But I read the novellas. I didn't read any of the short stories. I read the novellas in the places that people told me they should be, and I read all of Sun Eater that there is
available. Yeah.
And none of the novellas. Some of the novellas, I forget what it's called, but that's the other thing. I can't remember titles and I can't remember characters' names. I forget what it's called, but I think it's the last novella in the right place.
Dregs of Empire.
Dregs of Empire. Dregs of Empire I really liked because it fills in a lot about a particular character. There's kind of a character that kind of disappears from the story for reasons and comes back later. And it fills in what happened to him. It's not, I don't think it's essential to understanding the main story of the novels, but I really liked the character. So I really liked knowing more about him and getting more of his development and that kind of stuff. So it was cool, but I didn't feel like it was essential,
Yeah. So, I'm probably just going to I'll probably try to fit the novellas in still, where they fit, quote unquote, in the series. But yeah, we'll see. I got to get past book 2 first. I would agree. Lesser Devil, yes. And this isn't a spoiler. It's on the back of the book. Crispin is the protagonist in that novella. Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely gives you a different angle on their relationship, which I appreciated.
But it also feels kind of irrelevant because Crispin's not in anything else.
Right.
Like,
I agree.
Anyway.
Which was kind of made me, which again might tie in later on in the series.
It's kind of using a different character to give Hadrian more backstory.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was interesting, but I didn't think that one was great. Dregs of Empire is really good.
Yeah, Malazan doesn't have novellas.
There's the extra novels.
Yes, yes, it does. It has 6 novellas, and they're all about Beauclain and Corbel Broach.
Oh, so they're
but like not in like that's like a whole separate storyline.
It's like they show up in one book and then it's almost like
they show up, I think, in 2 books.
Oh,
but yeah, it's
like an offshoot.
It is separate things, and they don't. I mean, if you want to get really anal about chronology and stuff, I'm sure they fit in certain places, but they're irrelevant
to the greater story.
It just doesn't matter. They're really good. I really like the Beauclain and Corbel Broach novellas, but they're mostly comedy, like almost all the way through comedy with a little bit of horror, and they don't directly connect to the rest of the. No, Chadia, they are not short stories. They are novellas, but they are collected in books together. So there's like one book with 3 and another book with 3, or maybe it's
I think so. Because I've
3 and 2 or something.
I've had trouble finding the second book. I found the first one pretty easily. I have to every once in a while I come
hey, Jeffrey.
to figure out.
They're really fun. I mean, it's nice seeing Erickson basically just unleash his humor for an entire story. Like they are primarily humorous novels or novellas. But yeah, no, they're not necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say one that's like, and I still got to figure out once Alan gets through this with Shadows of the Apt whether or not it's like necessary. But like, there's one Shadows of the Apt book that for Anitha, for me, for Genghis Khan, that it didn't hit as well. And evidently there are characters in the short stories, the characters that pop up in this novel that have backstories in these short stories. So that's one of the ones where I kind of like, come on, Adrian, that's kind of annoying. But I don't feel like they're going to like.
Did he write those short stories before that book 7?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. But I understand Mindolin has a better experience than us because he read those short stories before book 7. Because we told him, for all of us, like Pete, me and Genghis Khan, book 7 is like least favorite. So Mindolin read the short story collection first.
Mindo is nuts though. Mindo has read every Chai Guy book there is.
Super
like
fan.
He's a
but it's more about like being
my
attached to those characters more than anything.
My point is, I am not sure if reading that short stories would help me enjoy book 7 better. Actually,
yeah,
I don't think my
7,
problems.
There's the main character of book 7 is not as engaging as the other ones.
I don't.
In her story,
I don't blame the character, but I think after few books, Tchaikovsky, at least for me, that entire arc was failed. That character's arc.
I mean, that specific character, I feel like there are so many things I wanted more from her character with, and I feel like at every turn that I get disappointed by how her story is or is told. Like when she's doing really cool stuff, she does it off page. Like I just read book 4 again, and she did some really cool stuff that I would have loved to see on page. Nope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that always bothers me too, because then it feels like you're not being invited into the story in the same way. It's like you're just kind of supposed to watch the TV screen instead of like actually be in it.
I mean, there was plenty to engage with in the book.
But you have to shut up about the apt books, because now you're making me want to read them.
That's the point.
I have 3 of them in my stack already, and I already have like a number of Chai Guy books I need to get to.
Why are these not on
probably before those?
They
are. They're just like
it's a big series.
Mostly, I basically want to read. I want by him, pretty much, but. First of all, I always hesitate at, maybe I should, in a lighthearted, fancy-free fashion, start another 10-book series. No.
Yeah.
And the books that people hassle me the most about that I should read of his are Open Wounds.
That's true.
And he sent me a copy of the book after that. So I
feel like you should get through Tyrant Philosophers.
I kind of feel obliged to get to those.
I would say that you should also bump Shadows of the Apt above everything else.
Yeah,
because it really is really
definitely good. Most underrated series in fantasy. It should be on the levels of I don't know
and I just bought,
but at least like popular series.
Yeah, it's wild that it is not more popular than this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of expecting that to be the case.
So at the same time, I don't want to.
I'm expecting that to be the case.
Overblow
they sound
your
great.
Expectations, right? We love them for a lot of different reasons, and I'm kind of like, I don't want to be like, okay, these things are perfect, amazing things, because even if you go back and look at our the things that we talked about with when we were doing the read along for the first 4 books, there are things we didn't like, issues we had. It's really interesting, and it's his first series that he wrote. This is the first stuff that he got published.
Yeah, exactly. I don't judge anybody's first books,
but we really love it for a lot of different reasons. For the entirety of the 10-book scope, for the characters,
right?
For the way that Tchaikovsky does military fantasy, for the world building that he does, that's so cool. There's a lot of things to love in this series, and there's a lot of things that are in the general zeitgeist that a lot of people love. That it's very surprising that it's not in that zeitgeist.
Okay.
I will say too, as from the perspective of an author who's currently writing a novella within a bigger series, for me, it was also, it's fine, Anitha, don't worry about it. It's fine. But I understand how, having read so many novellas and read so many series and having my own experience as a reader with them, I wouldn't personally, and I'm not any author is allowed to do whatever they want with their series. But for me, when I was looking at Legends of the Bruhai and figuring out, okay, there's a couple of origin story type things with characters that people have been really gravitating towards that I've been wanting to write. So the anything I'm writing within the series that's a novella is going to be it's a prequel essentially. It's going to go back and fill in some gaps. It's not going to be necessary to read if you want to know what's happening in the series. That is, I don't want to do that. And that was a big deal for me when I was sitting down to figure out what I wanted to put in this or which novellas I wanted to write. So if all, somebody doesn't want to read the novellas, they can read the 3 main novels and they'll be completely fine.
I think when we are reading immediately after getting published,
can we just briefly recognize that special edition Pride Evie has joined us, and you look fabulous.
I agree.
I feel
Go ahead,
about
Anitha.
125% more gay. So
125% more. Wow.
As opposed to 100%,
You're super gay.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Carry on, Anita.
So you're 220. Go ahead.
I just want to say that, if we are reading when they are getting published, maybe I wouldn't mind. But if we are picking up on those books like after 5-6 years, if there is novella after almost every book, it gets confusing and little frustrating. I like all of them in like one book as a collection. I don't mind reading that way. But if I have to pick like I mean, I don't want to blame one particular series, but if I look at Goodreads Anita, there is like 1.5, 2.5, so many. I was like, oh my god, this is too much. So that's all I wanted to say.
That's fair. Pete, did you tell us what you're reading?
Totally fair.
Trader's Blade by Sebastian J. Castell.
Nice. Reread or first time?
First time.
Nice.
First time.
I know it's like I should have read all of Alan's favorites by now, but
and Alan has been friends with you
I've
all
read
this
quite
time.
a few of his other series, so
I'm shocked.
Less than me, because
less than you. Really?
I finished Trader's Blade, so less
than
me.
Where's
what are you reading then, Anita?
Okay, I finished Trader's Blade and about to start City of Blades. This is book 2 in Divine Cities. Read along in Alan's Discord.
Nice. Evie, what are you working on right now?
Cool.
I am going to be working on Bee Speaker. I'm still,
nice. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm only through chapter 6. I'm so lagging behind.
You have paperback. Is this
pathetic.
only hardback? Is for only Americans?
No, I think I can check quickly, but I don't buy hardbacks new. I generally only buy hardbacks if I'm buying a special edition.
Oh, wait. So I guess in Europe there's a hardback version and a paperback version.
In US, they won't get paperback like in the first year.
Maybe.
Or so.
Yeah.
Wind and Truth.
Yeah,
still does
I mean,
have
we had paperback on day one.
This is Hard King, Marianne, and this is after City of Blades. Go ahead.
Speaking of Alan books you haven't read.
I'm just checking. Whoa, what is up with Amazon?
I mean, what's
question of the day? Is it right?
I type in Bee Speaker, and the first result was a VR headset. That actually scares me.
It's been really funny because Cold Silver for Souls for a little bit there, and I don't know if it's still this way, but when you search it on Amazon, Amazon was showing up the like, here's what we recommend based on this book, and it's all like really weird paranormal romantasy. I was like, yeah, no, incorrect.
Could that be because they put you in some sort of a cloud because of Phased?
Because Phased doesn't even have that bad of recommendations anymore, thankfully.
Yeah, it needs time to like figure out.
Well, it had me listed in a nonfiction category for a really long time too. When Cold Silver first came out, I put all the categories in where I wanted it, and Amazon was like, "Nope, nonfiction."
That's super weird.
I was like, "Okay."
It'd be really funny if you got bestseller.
It occurs to me back to the
like, imagine if you had like in nonfiction,
bestseller
like you
supernatural
got up to,
romantasy.
like, a bestseller, like
not
list.
Gonna happen.
It's like, oh yeah, bestseller nonfiction,
nonfiction
Cold Silver for Souls.
Hey, I mean, I'll take it. What are you gonna say, Matt?
It just occurred to me what it is with the Bee Speaker hardcover paperback. There are both on German Amazon from day one, and I think that's because Germany is in many ways a very sensible country, and they have extremely strict regulations around books because they are considered an important aspect of culture.
I love that.
And Amazon, for example, cannot discount books in Germany. They are not allowed to. You are not allowed to compete on price with books because Germany officially by law has decided they want small bookshops to exist.
That is amazing.
So Amazon cannot put
Nice.
small bookshops out of
That's
business. The book you buy, you're allowed to have sales, right? You're allowed to say, oh, for this week only, $5 off or €5 off, but you can't like fundamentally discount the price of a book and eat the loss.
That's beautiful.
You're not allowed to.
Cool.
So book prices are defined by regulation. And I'm guessing, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm guessing that they also don't allow you to sell only hardbacks and then paperbacks later, because that's also a price gouging strategy. I'm going to sell the expensive version and I'm going to sell you the cheaper version later.
This is one of the main reasons, as somebody who prefers very heavily to read paperbacks over hardbacks, why I almost never read new releases physical. Like I just, because I don't want to buy all the hardbacks, I want the paperback, and I never can get it until like a year afterwards. Derry, to answer your question, yeah, for sure. I think like it's you have your main series and it's and that's a set thing, but sometimes side characters will come up that are that really pull you to kind of towards them as well, and you really want to flesh out that character, or you want to explore an event that happened outside of the main story of the series. So like the one that I'm going to put out this year, hopefully, is the origin story of one of the Bruhai boys and like where he comes from, because he's been a fan favorite and a lot of people have mentioned him as a potential, like, hey, I'd really like to read more about him. And I was kind of toying with an idea of that anyways. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm having fun writing it, so that's a good sign.
Doug, price fixing on books in Germany has been working extremely well since shortly after the war. I don't know what price fixing you mean, but it's certainly for books. There are lots and lots of small bookshops that are still open because of it, which is awesome. Taxing secondhand books.
That's like 80% of my library.
France is weird, though. France is really
France
strange.
is strange. I agree.
Isn't
this is also a good point.
Yeah.
Isn't that just a sales tax? Assuming they, France does tax secondhand books. Isn't that just a sales tax?
I don't know.
Yeah, but isn't that getting sales tax twice on the same product?
But if you're a used bookstore, you're a business, so you are thus selling.
It depends if France has a general sales tax or not, and whether or not they have an exception carved out for it.
I'm sure they do.
To Zach, I think Zach and AK, to his comment though, I was looking on Blackwell's website to pre-order the Tyrant Philosopher's novella. Speaking of novellas, and the new one that's coming out in February. The novella is $23. The novel is $39.
No.
In hardback or paperback. That's kind of crazy. That's certainly crazy for a novella. I mean, $39 for a hardback is also getting up there. That's a bit. Yeah. Yeah, Caesar. It's the same in Germany. Independent pharmacies still exist. Like they're kind of everywhere. I don't know anything about pharmaceutical pricing because actually pharmaceuticals in Germany cost me nothing, basically, because I have government health insurance. And when my doctor sends me to buy drugs, I pay like €1 and I get a huge pack of pills. So I don't think about pharmacy pricing, but books are different.
Yeah.
Aslan had to say it. House of Open Wounds is so freaking incredible.
It's like Tories bakers throughout. Sorry, EV
I will
speakers
get to
to
it.
water what? Oh my god.
I was gonna say.
My brain isn't draining today.
I was just thrown for a loop of thinking, when did Matt read House of Open Moon? Okay,
Matt
that's why I
hasn't
was
read
very
it.
confused. I'm like, why? Okay.
I just said I just replied to Aslan.
Oh, okay.
I will get to it soon. I read the first one. I've got the second one. In fact, I've got 2 copies and one of them signed
Just
of the second one.
Just flex. Just
I've-
flex.
I've got. I think I've also got the third one in hardback sent to me by Adrian. But
flex.
yeah,
Flex.
exactly. That's what this is all about. This booktube
Flexing.
jam. Yeah, totally flexing about the
Novia?
books that we own.
Yep. She, as we were talking about when I
Novia.
was on the stream at the beginning by myself, she is informing me that it is officially about an hour and 45 minutes until supper time, and I haven't fed her yet.
So you're approximately 2 hours too late. That's
correct.
What I was gonna say.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tonight Fitz decided on the quiet but intense treatment, and she sat on the sofa end table. I was playing video games with a friend, and at some point I looked over and she had been sitting there completely still and silent, staring at me for like 20 minutes.
That was also the dog method, because Max does that of like the dinner stare down. You will just come over, sit, and just stare.
Yeah. Normally Fitz will just sit in front of me where she's very visible and scream at me until I say her name, and then she'll shut up for like 30 seconds and start screaming at me again.
Novia just pushes my door open and comes over and hooks her claws into my kneecap.
This is why I trim Fitz's front
hers
claws.
are too, but like it's still they're still claws. Should we read?
We should.
Thinking about going to like.
Oh yeah, that's right. Reading. That's what
Yeah.
books are about.
You know, I mean, trust me, I'm
It's
comfortable
not about
procrastinating, but
it's not about owning the newest book or the coolest edition or anything.
Yeah,
it's
I
actually
know,
about
bummer,
reading.
right?
Y'all are not feeding your cats.
Okay. I'm gonna have to rethink this booktube thing.
That is what we've all discovered today on our reading sprints, is that none of us feed our cats.
Ida, we are not feeding our cats 2 hours early.
I mean, you speak for yourselves. I'm just waiting for me to die, and then my cat can have a buffet. So morbid. Sorry. Anyways,
it's like, oh,
kind of.
I mean,
George heard that. She's like, I'm ready. I'm here. I can just anytime.
Hey, Wiz. Okay.
Wiz.
Let's do 235 after. Does that sound acceptable? Cool.
I'm going to drop. I need to step out. Hopefully I'll come back by the end of the sprint, or I'll join late. Okay. Bye.
Truth, Marianne.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
It's time, yeah?
Matt, how was your reading?
Very good.
Are you in?
It's there's very clearly in this book, there's a very clear sort of setting lots of things up part and introducing lots of different things and people and factions and stuff. And I've gotten past that to where shit is starting to hit the fan. It's
what chapter are you on?
Yeah. Good question.
Okay.
20. It's split up into sections or sub books, and I'm in the second section.
As it says, parts.
Parts. Yeah.
So, Evie, are you behind or like around the same point as him?
I am desperately behind. I just finished.
She's
I know.
so slow.
I just finished chapter 8. So
nice. That's not too bad. Honestly, a good night of reading will catch you back up. So
we'll see. This is.
Except I'm also having a good night.
I think Matt is going to continue to stay ahead of me because, this is taking a lot of my brain power to process. So it's just slow going. I'm enjoying it. It's just, it's not like easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. So.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I was a little surprised once I got far enough in. I was kind of like, oh, okay, I see in general what's going on. It's not what I expected after.
Oh,
what is that? It's a little bee.
At Pride, they had a bunch of like businesses and with little booths or whatever. And this place makes 3D printed little tchotchkes, and it's got like you can see it kind of like moves a little bit.
Oh, cool!
And it's just a little bumblebee, and I got a fox, little fox, and
you should send one of those bees to Tchaikovsky.
If you got his address,
he'd probably love it.
And I have a little turtle. So
nice.
I just realized the head moves too. That's cool. Okay, cool. Anyways.
My evening was not complete without Yoshi purrs. So Chris, thank you for being here.
You invited Yoshi. I
did. Yeah, you're his +1. Yeah. Well, welcome. Hi, Chris.
We got cats all over the place. You did see giant Fitz ears. Slightly
her head
in the
was
frame,
in the corner for a little bit there.
Evie. Yeah, she was standing on my desk, and like now that it's warm and the windows are open, all sorts of interesting bugs and smells come in from outside. So she's just like staring at the window up there.
Pippin attacked my window today because there was a bee outside that came in by the screen, and he was just like losing his mind over it. So, Pete, how'd your reading go?
Yeah, since it's been I can open the window weather, I haven't really had to exercise Fitz and like play with her to keep her active or anything. She spends like half the day just going berserk, losing her shit, chasing bugs around the flat. So she gets plenty of exercise.
It's Pippin. You want to say hi?
Pippin.
If that's exercise, then I also get lot of exercise every day, just jumping get home from living to bedroom and bedroom to living.
I was going to say, do you also attack the bugs against your window?
I was going to say, you probably don't do it quite as energetically as Fitz does. I mean, I've seen Fitz like leap a meter into the air trying to get a bug. So I don't know. I don't know you that well.
Maybe the rest of your house is a jungle gym.
I can
Exactly.
I can neither
You have to
confirm
actually
nor
climb
deny.
up to the ceiling to get into the living room.
Hey,
Pete,
Chris.
how was your reading?
All right. Mysterious. So, Tori asked you a question, Pete.
Yes. Trader's Blade. Great. I got through another 2 chapters.
Nice.
Definitely have thoughts. I'm excited to eventually talk about this with Alan and the rest.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, we have a Christina, speaking of, in the chat. Christina here. Alan was watching the discussion earlier and used his sprint time to record some of the 3rd audiobook, but he left this open on his desktop at full volume. Yeah, I've done that before where I'll go and I'll start writing
Hi,
or something
Christina.
when somebody's doing a sprint, and then somebody will come back on to stop the sprint, and it just about sends me out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
As long
Matt
as
is hosting.
yeah. I mean, if Atticus is when he gets little older, then he'll also run to the computer. Where is this noise coming from?
Mm-hmm. Capricious Fox is trying to figure out what to read. If you have some different ones that you're trying to decide between, you could throw them in the chat and we could possibly either help you or make it a harder decision, depending on.
It's true.
Yeah. I can't promise we'll be any help. Chris, what are you reading right now?
I am between books right now, so I'm giving myself a little bit of a breather. We just got our house last Wednesday, so now we're dealing with contractors and all that fun stuff. So I'm on information overload, and just came from Home Depot, and I was looking at 50 different types of countertops, and I'm just it's it sounds first world problem-y, but it's I'm a Libra and I can't make decisions when there's only 2 items. So
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Congratulations!
So what did you?
On the house.
Yeah, congratulations on the house. What did you just finish for reading?
What did I finish for reading? I read. What did I read? Come back to me.
Okay.
It was 2 minutes ago, Navo. It was 2 minutes ago.
Let's see. A few new people in the chat. Hello, everyone. What are you reading?
So, Anitha, you ready to finish Trader's Blade tonight?
I already finished.
Oh, wait, never mind. Are you glad?
What?
Look, I lose track of things.
Are you ready for Pete to finish tonight? Is what he meant.
Yeah, I could get finished. I don't know. What do we got?
Zin, yes, you should. A Knight of the 7 Kingdoms is awesome.
Are they doing a TV show?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
They are.
That is the Duncan Egg is the one reason I might return to the Song of Ice and Fire universe.
You read Song of Ice and... Oh, I did not realize that.
I've seen every season of the show. I've read all the books. Yep.
I watched it as well, but I have never read those books.
Yeah, I've read the books too.
Gosh.
Knight of the 7 Kingdoms is really nice because it's got a lot of the world stuff that you love, but it doesn't have any of the stress.
Nice.
It's almost fairy tale. It's not really fairy tale, but it's much lighter to read and less horrific in places than the main series. It's just fun. It's really, really nice. I love
I've
it.
had that one recommended to me a couple of times, so I want to try it at some point. Anitha, how'd your reading go?
I did not read. I just came from outside. Still, I have to start City of Blades. I didn't even open the page.
That's all right. Going outside is also an acceptable productivity time spent. That's a good thing. I'm 25, 30 pages further, and I'm happy to report that something happened that is interesting to me. So I'm excited to, there's some things coming back around. I know, right? something coming back around from like the end of book 1 that I'm like, oh, okay, so why didn't we just start here? But the last few chapters were very interesting, and I think
is it
I'm
going
like
to beat Red Rising now?
See, here's the thing. I am probably going to talk about this once on my channel just because it is a constant on BookTube that Red Rising and Sun Eater are never not mentioned in the same breath, which I think is interesting. They're very much not the same thing. And I highly doubt Sun Eater will beat Red Rising out for me. I highly doubt it. The first book and like what I've read so far, absolutely not.
Okay.
So that's my official opinion. I'm sure I will like, but also I don't expect them to be the same thing. And like, just, I could do an entire 45-minute video on how Darrow and Hadrian are completely different protagonists and set a completely different tone of story. So, which I might at some point if I'm.
I haven't read Red Rising yet, but like everything I've heard about it has never made me think that they're that similar, other than being science fiction with
space opera.
A bunch of characters.
Well,
and I
kind
think
of on one. I mean,
I
pretty
was just going to ask Tori. Remind me, because I'm having a massive brain fart. Regardless whether you did this or not, did you wind up reading Lightbringer already, or do you still have to read?
Yes.
That? Okay.
No, I have read Lightbringer. I have, yes. And that was my favorite by far of the 3 like second series. By like not even a close, like the other 2 aren't even in the race kind of favorite. So yeah, I enjoyed. Laura has not read it yet. She dropped off after Dark Age, and then we were supposed to read Lightbringer together. But Pete, you and I read Lightbringer together, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
I was going to ask, did we do a live? I remember thinking about asking if we were going to do a live.
No.
I don't remember if we did or not.
I realized today, as I'm like setting up the Empire of Silence live discussion for later this month, I'm like, there's so many books that I feel like I was going to do a live stream discussion on and didn't. We should circle back to that at some point.
Should.
I wouldn't even mind doing a full spoilers, like Iron Gold through Lightbringer discussion and just doing it all in one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'd have to brush up a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. Otherwise, we could just jump into Lightbringer and I'd have to brush up a little bit because it's, been a few months.
It's true.
True.
Zin asked about Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. It's just one book.
Yeah.
The one book is basically, I think, 3 or 4 novellas. 3 novellas, I think. And it's just that one book.
See, that's the way to do novellas in a world that you really love. Completely unrelated. Just, have some fun with it.
Yeah, and first of all, it's set in a different time than the main story. It's like 50 years before or something, or even more. I don't remember exactly. And it's much more like, at least one of the main characters is on a much lower level than most of the Song of Ice and Fire characters. He's kind of a nobody, and it just gives you a different perspective on a lot of stuff that's going on, and it gives you some background on some of the politics and history and stuff like that. And they're just fun little adventures. It has a lot. It reminded me a lot of, I think it was inspired very much by the style of storytelling in old Arthurian stories, like Le Morte Arthur or something like that.
It's been a while.
Squire out doing adventure-y things.
Sure.
As you do.
I need to know, and maybe this is a spoiler.
As you do when you're a knight.
What? Sorry, I keep doing this sort of like, I need to know.
Thinking really hard. I get it.
Exactly. My brain's fine. It's fine. Does Gurm take any?
The rainbows help. I'm sure the rainbows help.
It's true. It's like, was it Rainbow Bright? Like,
the more you know.
Yeah, exactly. If you smack them together, I'm sure they do something.
No, sorry, that's the Friends thing. I forgot.
Yeah,
whatever. Anyways, what I was gonna ask.
Yeah. Anyway,
Drunken Egg. Does Gurm take inspiration from Don Quixote and his faithful squire, Pancho? Pancho? Yes. Pancho. No.
Not so much.
Yeah, okay.
Not so much. I mean, it's basically a poor knight with a kid who is his squire, and there isn't a lot in it that reminded me of Don Quixote.
Okay. I just hear knight and squire, and I just assume.
Yeah.
So.
Every knight and squires takes inspiration.
There have been a lot of knights
Don Quixote, Abbey.
And squires,
but they can't. It's like the Lord of the Rings of knights.
There have
and
been
squires.
a lot of knights and squires in literature.
Don Quixote is the original OG. He wasn't like trying to write a synopsis unfailed. I don't know. He wasn't.
Thank you, Santo Parza. Thank you. I combine them two. I always combine the two names into Pancho.
Such fun, yeah.
Anyways,
close enough.
Right.
He wasn't responding to a trope. That's what I meant to say.
So 3 options to vote for.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree.
I
Honestly,
haven't heard of any of them.
I haven't either, but The Journey of the Swamp Baron is a title that I am absolutely obsessed with. Just having heard it please read that.
Nice. Yeah.
Has me intrigued.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I'm intrigued.
I would also just any book with that title should be read. Go Fox.
Yeah. There you go. Pete already was way ahead of me.
Yeah.
Tharnal.
Yeah.
He was a knight in our hearts.
That's right. Don't
see. That's the thing, though, Thornall.
Don't slander him like that.
Dunk wasn't really a knight either.
So what you're saying is that anybody can knight anybody and just be a knight.
Dunk wasn't knighted. Neither was Don Quixote.
Yoshi.
This is the cat stream this evening.
He is like gripping onto the keyboard.
It's kind of a cat-rich
Where is
environment.
your cat, Pete? It's time
I don't
to
have a
adopt
cat.
It's time to adopt one.
Yet is the
well, first of all,
part of that
it's not
sentence.
my house. While the house may be sans animal currently, I don't know how long that's going to last.
Why? I thought you were like wanted to move out immediately after this new job. Why are you still here?
Laziness. I have to actually go out and actually find a place to live, which is not that hard because I have a few places in mind, but I just have to take action.
There is internet. You don't need to go out at all. Where are you living?
You still have to look at the houses, Anita.
You definitely want to look at the house beforehand.
Just look at the photos and just finalize.
Those are honest.
No.
Yeah. Rocinante.
Chaddy, I'm
Probably
too
wrong.
lazy. If I get a cat, then I have to remember and feed.
Anita.
I mean, I'm worried that I'll kill pets like I kill plants.
Anita, we've had this conversation. I too kill plants. I have the black thumb of death when it comes to plants. The more complex the creature, the more likely I am to keep it alive.
So what you're saying
I've been doing good with
is you would make a great
almost 10-year-old dog. So
mother.
I kill artificial plants, so I mean, I don't know how they turn brown. I don't know how.
Anita,
that happens.
as a rebuttal to your commentary about buying based on pictures. So when we were
Magic.
looking for our house, there was a house we saw that was really cute in the pictures. It was like kind of like old farmhouse style, but it was in town on a fairly decent lot of land. And we went to see it, and not in the pictures. None of this was in the pictures. And I noticed that the dining room floor was kind of like, I expect some settling in older houses. That's normal. But like it was slanted. And I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And our realtor, who I won't name just for no shade, but she was not very good, was like, oh, that's normal for old houses. It's fine, So we go down over to the door to the basement. We open the door. I start going down. It was one of those like really old creepy basements that has like the dirt walls and everything. I start walking down to the basement, and the people, I don't know if it was the people that lived there before, like that were selling it, or before them, had decided, the main beam holding up the entire house. Mm-hmm. Well, it was a little too low, and it was uncomfortable to walk underneath it down the stairs. So they literally cut a headspace. There was literally that much beam holding up the house left, because they had cut up into the beam to make a bigger walkway through the beam down the stairs. And I turned and looked at our realtor, and I was like, so you want to tell me again how old houses just normally do this? Because that's not normal.
Okay, yeah. 2 points.
That was not in the pictures.
I agree with you. Number one, first of all, I was only joking, just irritating Pete as usual. Number two,
I had a good story to tell.
Yeah. Even if you're if you don't have time, or if you can't do anything out, you're in different country, you have to look at pictures and select. I would recommend only do that new condos, new apartments. Never do that in an independent house. Not advisable at all.
Yep.
Good thing I'm looking to rent an apartment.
Yeah.
So, Chris, you're not reading. You're in between. What are you working on this evening?
Writing. Editing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. Well, shall we do another?
I do have yours on deck. So I should say what I'm going to read. And
you certainly can.
Cold Silver is next. I just need some break from reading a little bit.
Totally get it. Also, speaking of which, Evie, I'm getting a box on Tuesday, so I should hopefully quality inspection passing copies of Cold Silver. So hopefully I will send yours out this week.
Woohoo!
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Like I said,
so excited.
Is that Cold Silver for Souls, the new novel by Victoria Tekken?
Number 1 bestseller on
in nonfiction on Amazon.
Urban fantasy.
In nonfiction.
I spent
in nonfiction paranormal romance.
When you put your book on Amazon, you have to put in all of you don't have to, but they allow you to put in all the different categories. So I got really detailed with it, and I was like, okay, it's in this category or whatever. And I put 5 options. Amazon's nonfiction. It's okay. All right.
By the way, Evie, I'll confirm both of you, but you send whatever you have to send to me, to Mindolin. He's coming to Toronto in July. He'll bring smuggle books for me. So
okay, noted.
So I'll cross check with him and send you guys his address.
How to Necromancy 101.
Self-taught homeschooler.
We all know where to go to.
I'd buy it. To be honest, I would
the
believe
way you
that.
help yourself. The way you help yourself is by reanimating corpses.
It's true.
That's Tori's self-help advice.
Yep.
And you need to add something mundane, an everyday kind of life thing, how to necromancy and cross stitch or something like that. Something like
how to change your light bulbs on a more routine basis.
Hunter has a lot of little small town nuggets of wisdom thrown in there. So I guess you could say it's a little bit of a self-help book.
Maybe Amazon thought it's nonfiction about hunting.
Bounty hunting?
How to bounty hunt 101.
Well, her name is Hunter.
Yeah, it's true.
Or maybe they got confused with what's that? World War Z, A History of the Zombie Apocalypse, and they thought that was nonfiction, and so subsequently, Necromancer, Zombie, same thing, right?
Same thing. Yeah, definitely.
Same.
Definitely the same thing. Yeah.
If there are walking corpses in it, it must be nonfiction, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just a walking corpse.
Also, if you had mentioned Gold Rush in the one
Actually,
of the prompts,
Fox, it was.
I could think Gold Rush nonfiction.
There you go.
So so many categories of nonfiction it fits. Better than any fantasy.
How to build your crochet empire.
How to teach crocheting to your zombie familiar. I like it.
And every video game has taught me that if you can teach something that will never die to do something and just let it run, then you can build a solid business off of that. Thank you both, random graveyard, cozy farming simulators, and Terry Pratchett.
It's a great combo, honestly.
Or bake Miss K's bread and necromancy.
Right? Yeah, that's true. If you order the deluxe box, you even get a recipe and everything. So
it's on the back side of the recipe. The necromancy.
Yeah. Necromancy recipes? Question mark?
Rituals?
Yeah. Huge shout out to Kay, by the way, because I think it was like a month before the book came out. Not even 3 weeks. And I reached out to her and I was like, do you have a recipe that you'd be willing to let me use in this deluxe box? That'd be great. I love that. I am 2 husbands into the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo. The dramas, I can imagine. That's awesome. Number 1 in business and finance.
It's true.
Yep. Well, do you guys want to do another sprint?
Yeah. Cold silver. Must be.
Let's. Oh boy. If we do 45 minutes, do we want to do 40 or 45 minutes?
45.
Let's do 45 so we can stop 45. It exactly. No, we should go to 47.
No, Pete. No. We are coming back at 45.
And Pete. 30 seconds.
You already said 47. We're good.
40,
apparently we're not.
47 and 20 seconds.
I may drop at some point in there because it's late here already, but
completely fair. Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
See you tomorrow, is it Matt?
Thanks for having me.
Bye, Matt. Good night.
Indeed. Pub tomorrow, sort of earlier than this, but yeah.
And we're back.
Are we getting a live unboxing, Chris?
That's what I was wondering. I think you're still muted.
Book mail.
Ooh,
Got
let's
this.
see. Ooh.
Indie author.
Nice.
Whisper
flip it?
and
Tori, can you flip his screen? So we
Oh.
can see it the right way.
Yes.
there
There
we
you go. Nice. I need to read that one.
That.
Nice.
And then I think I got my Dan Simmons Hyperion.
Nice.
That was such a beautiful edition.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite sci-fi.
So beautiful.
Books. Yeah.
I didn't get it, but it's beautiful.
The question is which cover are you going to put on the?
Oh, I know. They gave you the classic one. I'm kind of feeling the old school. It's the old school Hyperion.
Nice.
Why did they do that again?
I don't know.
Like, did people get up and try to riot of like, you have to give us the old guy? It's just a weird decision.
I don't know. I like the old school, but I also like their brand new thing as well too.
This reminds me,
I
I
can
get back to that.
Cool bookmark.
There we go.
Oh God. Bookmark. My 800 bookmarks.
Oh, I have a lot too. I have a whole 2 cups full of them right now.
Dory. Jesus.
Oh,
Dare you?
wow. I don't know. I think I got to like the new one.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
That's very beautiful.
Yeah. Definitely, it's one of my favorite sci-fi. I kind of hope they'll do the whole series. I never read the rest of the series.
Nice.
That's it. That's my book mail. How's everybody's reading?
Good.
So,
Good.
Speaking of Hyperion, I had noticed at the bookstore when I visited over the weekend or yesterday, whatever days are, that they have a trade paperback version of the Fall of Hyperion that's of the original, the old cover. Ooh. And it looks like they're actually gonna reissue maybe the entire series, but it doesn't have a picture of what the cover is gonna be.
Interesting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. ISBN. Come on, Del Rey.
I'm too spoiled now with paperbacks and hardbacks that I can't do a mass market. It's just almost hard for me anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have purchased one that'll be in my next book haul, but it's only because it's an older series and you can't find it other than out of print hardcovers or mass market paperbacks. So I was like, well, oh well.
I was looking to build up my Tanith Lee collection, and I can only find those in mass market too. So it's but
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
there are specific series for me that are just, I feel like I need to have them in mass market. 2 of them are Stormlight and Malazan. I have, because I read most of those in mass market.
Oh,
I actually need to go and actually purchase the Rhythm of War mass market. But it's just the experience to me is a mass market experience.
Now, see, I don't mind mass markets, but they have to be a thinner book, a shorter.
Yeah.
Book. And then I get that. I kind of get that experience that you get, Pete, with that old school feel of when you went to the grocery store and they had the spinner of mass markets and you
stuff like that.
Pick through the books. That's what I kind of remember, and I kind of get that nostalgic feeling.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah, my spine for my Way of Kings, it was already used when I got it, but I've read it a few times. It's like a straight up like parabola. Like if you're looking down on it, like it's so curved, but it's like still there, still working.
It's very worn in.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice feeling. I almost regret the fact that I like am worried about breaking the spines of a lot of my other books now. She will be right back. Children. I don't know why. I like books with bricks, books that are bricks that are mass market. I don't know why it's such a vibe for me. That I'm just like, yeah, let's go.
Well, I am officially, my eyes are older, at least 50% older than my physical age. So I can't do mass market anymore.
Yeah. I think I definitely like the bigger fonts in other places nowadays.
Like I'm nearsighted, so I can read books really well without the glasses, but it is a strain now a little more with smaller print and especially in mass market format for sure.
I have been tempted to get one of those like little magnifier things, but I haven't brought myself to it.
Those are called reading glasses.
No, I meant the like literal magnifier things that they sell at like the chalk keys at bookstores. But
yeah, I have like a shelf of mass market paperbacks still that I kept, some of which are like thinner, some of which I can't really find, a larger trade paperback. And hardcover, I'll prefer hardcover if I can't find a trade paperback, but I can't, like my thumb joints, I can't handle reading mass markets anymore. It's almost painful at this point, trying to keep a book that small open. So yeah, getting old is cool.
It's great.
No, it's
great. It's great. Ron says the ones you slide down the page with the line embossed in it. Is it like, does it just like help you read line by line and magnify the whatever line it's on?
Oh,
I feel like are
we talking about page magnifiers? Are we talking about page magnifiers?
Sorry, I missed part of the conversation, so I'm coming back in.
Evie, are we talking about that type of magnifier that you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like I read too fast for something like that. I feel like I'd be moving it so fast that it, like, I don't know if it would work. Maybe. I also noticed as I was reading Howling Dark, I also noticed that sometimes, like, I'm reading pretty quickly, but I also jump around a little bit while I'm reading. Like, I'll read and be like, wait, did I really, like, what was that? And I'll go back and I'll grab like a sentence a little bit ago and then come back down, and like, so it's not a completely linear process for me all the time.
Interesting.
But so one thing I want to say positively about this book so far, because I know at the beginning of the stream I was like meh about it. I will say I really appreciate when an author can make aliens and non-human entities feel very non-human. Like that, I feel like that's actually harder to do than it sounds. And I will say, one of the things that I'm really appreciating about this so far is that the alien races and the non-humans, yes, I know, Adrian Tchaikovsky is also very good at that.
Yeah, there's that Final Architecture series.
There is, which I will read, but I promised Sun Eater first. Yeah, so I'm very intrigued by the different, like, races and stuff in here. And there's a focus on languages in here as well that I find really fascinating. So yeah, the last few chapters have been a decided improvement.
Good.
I still would cut out the first 150 pages of this book as not necessarily necessary. I feel like it could have been started a different way, but it's going to be fine. Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like I'm realizing I don't read always. Sometimes I do, but I don't always read perfectly linear. Sometimes I jump back and like reread sections and jump back down and like really
Sometimes
fast.
I feel that. Sometimes what'll happen with if I'm reading a page and then I see like a paragraph break or something, like a solid like spacing, not just like the end of a paragraph, and I feel the tension ratcheting up, I know there's going to be a switch there. I have to physically prevent myself from looking and seeing like the last sentences or whatever it is.
And sometimes I do, and it's like, well, oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, Pete, you guys finished Fifth Elephant, right?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of Night Watch actually. Nice.
Ben and I just finished it last night.
I saw the review.
I mean, I'm technically in the middle of Night Watch too, but
technically she is. I am more in the middle of Night Watch, closer to the end.
Pete's gonna dust me. Oh my god!
Look, it is not my fault that that Night Watch is feeling super cathartic for a variety of reasons right now.
It's good. I like it. I'm probably going to. What I would like to do is once we all finish, I'd love to do a City Watch ranking discussion with you two and Alan. Just so, which honestly, Dairy too. I usually try to keep it to 4, but I'm happy to do Dairy too. But I think it's gonna turn into Alan yelling at me for like an hour and a half straight because he's not gonna like my ranking. I don't think.
Could be.
I don't think I know he won't agree with it, but I'm curious to see if it makes him mad. Be interesting. It might be.
I think for me right now, even with how much I've read, Night Watch is probably my favorite.
This is also a problem, Crystal, for sure. Night Watch is very good. Ben and I both cried at the end. So yeah.
Even more than Nation, Pete?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see.
And I think part of it is just the experience I've had while reading it. That's been interesting, but
yeah, I think there are multiple books with that title.
Definitely hope to start some Terry Pratchett later this year for sure.
Yay.
Have you read anything by him yet?
Not yet. No. I was close.
Rest.
I was close like a couple months ago when I was going to either read in publication order because I have both Color of Magic and what is it? The first City Watch book. Guards. Yeah. And so, and because I'm hearing, just read this series. So if you, kind of get into it first, but then other people are like, oh, you got to read it in publication order. I'm like,
all right, so here's my thought on that.
Maybe I'll go rogue and just read like Witches or something first. Or
hey,
do whatever you want.
Do it. Yeah, that's
exactly
the thing.
Right.
I think it really depends on the kind of reading experience you're looking for. And I would say for my own experience so far, I've read all 6 out of the 8 City Watch, and I've read Mort so far out of Discworld. And I think that having read City Watch and having had such a good experience with it and falling in love with it makes me set up to have a better experience with some of the other books in the series that aren't as well written, quote unquotes. So like I'm looking, I might not enjoy Color of Magic as much as I enjoy City Watch, and I don't expect to, but I think I'm going to have a very different appreciation for it because I know Pratchett as an author at this point, and he's in my favorite authors list now. So I think it's going to be a different experience. But I agree with Derry. I feel like the nice part about all the different series is you can be like, what do I feel like? I want to read the Death Cycle. I want to read City Watch. I want to read the Witches. Like you can, or I want to start with a standalone. Like you have a lot of different options.
One of the most chaotic orders you could do is do reverse release publication order. Start with, what was the last one? Shepherd's Crown?
Shepherd's Crown.
That is something you could do. Yes.
It seems like it seems like it's on theme with Pratchett, right?
Although,
honestly,
by that statement, Derry, please, I swear to God, I hope you're going to laugh at this joke. You're going to give Derry another stroke.
I mean, she did say read it however you like.
Yeah. Chaos Order is fun.
Chaos Order is fun. Yeah, and this is what I've heard is that a lot of people I've seen a lot of people start with Color of Magic and like jump away from Discworld because of it. Yeah, and I feel like I'm more ready to read it now than I would have been had I not read any Discworld. I'm going to appreciate it more.
You might. Probably. I was going to say you might actually like it more.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I was definitely one of those people. I started with Color of Magic before BookTube, I think, and then I got to BookTube, and people were like, "Yeah, you could read it in whatever order, and this order." I broke the one rule.
How dare!
The one rule.
Yeah.
So theoretically, if you did the second to last book,
Derry's cackling. So we're good.
We're good.
So Tori, when are you planning to? When's your? I don't know if you have it planned. Demon in White. When are you going to read that? Because I'm up to Halloween Dark on Sun Eater. That's
right. Because you were going to jump in with us.
Yeah, I was going to jump
Demon in White. I'm planning on reading it in July.
Okay.
The thing that we're kind of talking about right now is because the first 3 books are kind of like an arc of sorts, and then there's kind of book 4, 5 is kind of the next section of the series. What we're probably going to do is read Demon in White in July, and then I'm going to take at least a month break, and then come back to Kingdoms of Death either a month or 2 after that.
I don't usually like binge read a whole series. I usually sporadic, unless it's like an official buddy read, and we're like I'm doing Wars of Light and Shadows, so that's a definite every other month. But that's the only thing right now.
I even thought about taking a break after book 2, but the problem with that is I didn't want to put book 3 and 4 together because book 4 and 5 were technically supposed to be one book. And they got split, so I wanted to leave those 2 together. So we'll read Demon in White in July probably, and then take a month break.
Sounds good. I got a plethora of indie that I have to catch up on. Like so behind.
Story of my life. Yeah, I think
everybody is like writing books this year.
It's true. I'm really far behind on all that kind of stuff. So I'll probably, that's part of the reason why I want to take breaks in between the bigger series, because I want to give myself some time to, do a reading vlog of catching up on indie books or something like that if I want to, and not feel like I have always these big chunkers that I quote unquote have to read. So we'll see how we're all feeling at the end of Howling Dark. It's been...
I'm not really... Yeah, I mean, I'm not... It's not really a thing for me.
It'll be your July or August read, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably July.
And that will be a hectic month for me anyway because of the move, so... But
oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
But, I mean if you read it, you read it. I don't...
Well, it's also like... the chonkiest chonk in the series.
Yeah.
So
if you read it, you read it. I don't, if I'm able to get in, I'll do it. But
well, I could be convinced to take 750 pages. Okay. I could be convinced to take a month break in between Howling Dark and Demon in White, and then take another break after Demon in White, just because it is such a big book. We'll see. That was kind of my approach, Derry. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to eventually reread it.
Yeah, I hope to start at least this year for sure.
Yeah. I think, Chris, for you too, especially while you're working on your big epic fantasy and you're working on like reading all of these. I mean, you've got Janny's series right now. I think Pratchett's going to be a really good like palette cleanser. The thing is that I love so much about it is that his humor is so he's coming from a place where he knows the genre so well that he can make fun of it in a way that is actually funny and like really intelligent. And he also works in some really, it's so like the best and worst of humanity in a book, but told in a way that's just like, I love it. I love these characters.
I need some like casual reads anyway, and I don't think I have a lot of those going on right now. So
I feel like his humor is never, when he's being like critical, he's never beating down in his humor. So yeah.
Okay,
he's very harsh in some of his like a lot of his stuff, but he's never like, oh, I'm so much better than whatever. It's just there's a righteous anger in his humor.
Yeah, a lot of it, yeah.
Except for Night Watch. Night Watch is not easy for me to read, but that's more of a me problem than anything. So
I struggled with the first half of it quite a bit actually as well. So I don't think it's
it's not just me.
Yeah.
It's just the whole like, I guess, very, very light spoilers, the timey-wiminess of it.
Yeah.
And then I also have a first 2 coming up this year, or coming up. I want to.
I like that, Zen.
I want to read my first romantasy book, which is going to be Laura's. Yep, it's going to be my first romantasy book.
On the best of romantasy, yeah.
Robust.
Start with the best, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to give Philip some competition. You'll have to start like Chris Navo, the best of romantasy.
And Robin, because his is only the best fantasy.
Yeah.
Yes. So what is a book before I'm going to eat shortly, so I'll probably close out the stream, especially if Alan started one. But what is a book that you guys are looking forward to in the second half of 2025 that you're really excited about?
Like reading? A new release or just in general?
Just a book that you want to read before the end of the year that you're excited about.
I'd really like to get to Perdido Street Station this year. I read The City in the City at the beginning of this year and absolutely loved it. And everything that I've heard about Perdido Street Station tells me that I'm probably going to love it.
I could see you really like jiving with his work based on what I've heard of it.
So I just want to get there. Like there's a few things, like there's a bunch of other things that I really need to get to, right? Trying to keep up with like new releases, like Black Company and stuff like this, and Alan's read-alongs. But like Perdido Street Station is the one there. Like if I have time to slot it in, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Pete, you should have just said, screw reading Night Watch with Evie. I'm going to read Perdido Street Station instead.
Night Watch kind of grabbed me by the throat, so I couldn't do that.
Fair point. Okay, fair point.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. Oh God, that was gross. Oh, it's fine. We're good. For me, apparently I'm on a ancient poetry, epic poetry kick. And what? Sorry?
I said I'm here for it.
A new translation of the Aeneid is coming out in August.
Ooh,
and it is blurbed by Emily Wilson, who did the translations for the Iliad and the Odyssey that I really, really enjoyed. So I'm very excited to read that.
It's really weird. Anytime you say Emily Wilson, my brain starts get like switching on and off between that and Emily Henry. I don't know why.
Fair point. It has been a year of last year, and this year has been a year of Emily. Emily Wilson, Emily Henry. So, checks out. No, wait, last year. Did I read both? Yeah, I did read both of them last year.
Nice.
Yeah, so last year, 2024.
Nice.
This year, I need another Ursula then. To go with Ursula K. Le Guin.
I feel like that one's probably less populated than Emily.
Yeah. Emily was like with the most popular name to name your
For a
girls
long
for a
time.
while. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy it, Derry.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Chris? Did you already answer? I just forgot.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Pratchett obviously, I think was it. Mike Shackle. We Are the Dead. I want to read that. I heard that's really good series.
I think you're really gonna jive with that series.
Yeah, you're the one who recommended it to me. What else do I have? I mean, like I said, just all these awesome indie books. Obviously, Tori's next one. I want to listen to the audio. So I read the first book of Philip's Way of Adan, when it first came out, and then but I'm going to reread the series, but I'm going to use
audio.
Alan's audio this time for book one to do that.
And then perfect time. Book two is right around the corner.
Yeah, and then I want to get back into Malazan.
Yeah.
So,
where did you stop? I'm trying to remember.
I'm on Memories of Ice.
Okay.
So
you're needing to read Memories of Ice next?
I need to read Memories of Ice.
Right, yes. Right. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So I've now read Gardens and Dead House twice. And and it's funny, I credit Erickson to the work I'm working on. And I have not, and that's as far as I got in the series. But
that's very Erickson coded though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You only need to read one. That's it. Then it's there forever.
Jeff has a very funny comment. He is going to do a Spear Cuts Through Water reread. That is to be expected. That is a given. So,
yeah.
Persuasion, Spear Cuts Through Water. Those are annual rereads. So, what about you, Tori?
Yeah. What about Tori?
I've actually been in a weird classics mood lately, which kind of surprised me. I want to read. Do
you think it's because you like rearranged your shelves and now you're like, oh wait, you suddenly see these books you're not used to seeing on your shelf?
Well, and it was really weird because putting my library on the new bookshelves, it was like I'd seen them all for the first time again, and I got so excited about all of them and reading all of them again, which was cool.
I will add Notre Dame de Paris, aka The Hunchback of Notre Dame, as well.
Nice
for me.
I have that.
Go. Yeah, nice.
I haven't read it yet. What did I even buy for my birthday this last? Well, no, when we went out for our anniversary, I got. I want to try Virginia Woolf's fiction because I think I might vibe with that better. So I have To the Lighthouse, and I'm going to try that one.
Godspeed. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that one's an intentional challenge read for me because she had some good points in A Room of One's Own, but
I remember I was supposed to read, what was it, Mrs. Dalloway?
Yeah.
In college, and to be fair, I read little to none of the college required reading because I was a terrible student, and I just could not get into stream of consciousness stuff. So I'm so sorry, Matt. I'm so sorry.
I'm trying to even remember what's on my priority reads list. I don't even know. Actually,
but you play your game though, Tori, right? So you are kind of at the mercy of your game, right?
In some ways, yes, but I have a lot of flexibility to choose. Like, so the cards are built in such a way that the prompts are open-ended enough that I can usually fit quite a few different books within each prompt. So I'm at the mercy of it, but I designed it to be pretty flexible on purpose because I did not want a rigid system that was going to feel like, and I mean, this first month, it's been going really well. And I feel like it's enough spontaneity that it keeps me excited and interested in what I'm reading too.
It was a very diverse group of books for sure.
Yeah. Yep. I kept adding books to the stack and just being like, okay, well, this is going to be a very interesting month. But Deed of Paxenarian, I'd say, is a really high level TBR fantasy for me. And this is actually the entire trilogy. So
wow. That's a nice addition.
Yeah, it's got all 3 books in it.
Very cool.
The font is kind of small, but it's manageable. So like that's the entire first book. Whoops.
Very nice.
And
I don't think I have any Elizabeth Moon on my shelf.
Well, I just read Hunting Party, which was one of her science fiction series, The Serrano Legacy, and was just like weirdly enthralled by it. And I can't completely explain why, but I loved it. And her character work is really fresh and interesting and like grounded, which I appreciated. And so reading that and then having had so many people tell me that A, I will love this, and B, that it's like an incredibly underrated fantasy for how good it is, makes me very excited about that. So that one's definitely a priority read if I can get it back on the shelf. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this is what I keep hearing, and I'm prepared. But yeah, I read my first Elizabeth Moon last month and enjoyed. So, yep. Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining me on screen and in the chat. And thank you, Crystal. I hope you enjoy it. Bloodsworn is also.
I liked Bloodsworn.
I've only read book 1.
Really strong characters in it.
Oh, hold on. Pete, you and I have to weigh in on this one. Begin my Brandon Sanderson journey. Where to start?
Start with Mistborn, Final Empire, or Elantris. I think those
Evie and Ireland.
It's fine. I mean, I'm not like a massive Sanderson fan either, so it's fine. Pete's really the expert on the stream for this right now. I would agree. I would say Mistborn is a great place to start if you want a taste test of something really short. Emperor's Soul is also fantastic. That's a short novel. So if you want to just like read something a little shorter, but Mistborn is where I started, and it's still one of my favorite fantasy series so far. Yeah. So
there's definitely a lot of different places to start, but usually just starting with his earlier works is going to be better overall just for the journey. Because I feel like if we're talking about specifically the Cosmere, I do feel like there's this buildup of a change in his style and how he talks about and hints about wider world things that I just feel like with Mistborn, Final Empire, and Elantris, it's so much better to start without that pressure, because that pressure of like, ooh, new thing isn't in his writing. And to be fair, that's also coming from a perspective of someone who's trying to get in the shoes of somebody who hasn't read Sanderson before. With my experience of reading some of those later books, right? Because I look at those later books and I see things like, oh, cool. Those are things I know about and what those are references to. And I see a bunch of them, and I encourage people to be like, hey, yeah, it's fine if you don't get references. It's fine if you don't understand every single word that happens, because some people have
more of that later on.
Yeah, there is more of that. So if you want to make sure that you have the best experience, and if that's something you feel like that you'll fall into the trap of, it's better to start earlier.
Yep. I would agree. I have the opinion that I think his later work also is not as strong writing wise. So.
Or are you talking about his Stormlight, Tori, or just
partially, partially, but not just Stormlight. I had that experience with several of his works. His Skyward series was like that for me. Stormlight was like that for me. So I feel like his level of writing has diminished with later books more than, like, I appreciate his writing technique more in older books, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it'll be interesting once we get the third era of Mistborn, just because he's like writing that 3 at a time. And it'll be interesting to see how he approaches that, and whether or not how similar it is to when he approached the first era of Mistborn.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, again, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thanks for reading. I hope you guys had a good time and have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thanks, chat. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Got so much reading done during these sprints.
I did too. I'm surprised how far I am. I swear, I almost got like 80 pages read.
You're gonna finish it tonight, Pete, or else.
It's highly likely that I will finish it tonight.
Do you guys have a live stream for it? I'm assuming.
No,
we haven't scheduled it yet.
Okay. I definitely made some progress.
Nice.
For sure. And things are picking up, which is lovely. So you guys helped me get past the slump because I was like, do I put this down and read something else? So we're past that now, I think. So, all right. I hope you guys all have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you around. Bye, everybody. Bye.